What's happening, everybody? So, essentially, the NBA season, regular season, is about to be over. So, I thought this was a perfect time of me doing a coaching review of Tyronn Lue. And basically, Tyronn Lue has shown a lot of abilities of being a phenomenal coach. So, basically, I'm going to do a strength and weaknesses. And Tyronn Lue has a lot of strength. Of course, he has a lot of things that he could work on as well. But now let's dig it in. So of course, one of Tyronn Lue's really good strength is comebacks. Like literally, this season we have a lot of comebacks and a lot of wins that we shouldn't have won the game, but we managed to win the games. One of the prime example is when we came back against the Washington Wizards by a whopping 35 points. Like as soon as when he saw everybody was struggling, when he was like, "Oh, there's not a night," bench everybody, bam, get all the bench unit in, and guess what? We let it come back. Tyronn Lue, like, I mean, obviously, if you're having a lot of comebacks like this, like Tyronn Lue is must be doing something like instilling some type of nice mental toughness in the team, and it shows. It shows, especially against the Wizards, against the Orlando Magics, against the Utah Jazz, against the um, let's just say against the Brooklyn Nets as well too, because it's not a comeback, but it was when they have Kevin Durant and James Harden, and we pretty much essentially swept the Lakers for like the whole entire season when they have all their All Stars and the Clippers have no All Stars, and we swept them. And when we beat the Boston Celtics, like a lot of these good wins, bro. Like and also the wins against the Phoenix Suns. Like let's just like maybe like not count the last one, but like let's just say the other one when they had when our stars were hurt, but yet they had CP3. We beat we managed to defeat them. So that is like one of the biggest like I don't know like what to exactly like say as a category, like other than just a lot of the comebacks that Tyronn Lue has managed to do. Like you could just say like maybe he instills like some nice mental toughness and all that, but yeah, our record just shows that like Tyronn Lue he must be doing pretty good. Now this will be an easier one is like in a way like how our defense would be like how like he basically scratch that. Like Tyronn Lue would bring like he's shown a lot of capabilities of bringing the best of out of the players. So now I'm gonna go a little bit outside of just this season, but like let's go back to 2021 playoff. Reggie Jackson, he was just considered like a big like question mark at the time, but Tyronn Lue just saw something and then just brought the best out of Reggie Jackson. Now Reggie Jackson's looking like our franchise player, and Reggie Jackson he shows he shows a lot of moments of being a pretty clutch player. And Tyronn Lue, he definitely has a big factor of it. And another prime example of bringing the best out of the player is would be Amir Coffey. Beginning of the season, we were like, what the heck we're doing with Amir Coffey. Now, Amir Coffey, he's balling, bro. He's literally showing that he's definitely a certified starter of any other teams. And also, Luke Kennard, especially on the defensive end. Now Luke Kennard actually plays pretty good defense. Like he's no longer, getting like fried by other players. Like he actually is like, and also he improved Luke Kennard's ability to, in this all around game. So basically, like when he can't shoot, he's not completely useless. Like he will like make Luke Kennard become a even better playmaker. So that's two. Basically, bring the best out of the players. And three would be, hmm, let's just say, um, playmaking. Now, next slide. So basically, If you actually watch the Clippers game, like most of the games, we actually moved the ball pretty well. Although we do have a lot of moments that we turn the ball over a decent amount of times, but compared to Doc Rivers, when it was just strictly all ISO, like Tyronn Lue's Clippers has been different because one of the biggest thing actually is ball movement, and you would always see some type of interesting ball movement. Like you would see like all these players like you don't think that could run the point guard actually be able to run the point guard, especially with Amir Coffey as being the prime example. But nevertheless, our ball movement just dramatically improved. All right, like I don't know what else to simply say say other than you know the ball movement just improved. Now I'm trying to think of Tyronn Lue's other strengths, but I can't really think about it at this moment. But those are the three key components: mental toughness slash making a lot of comebacks. Two, um, bringing the best out of the players, and three, playmaking. Oh, another one actually. I'm gonna go back a slide, but and is in-game adjustments. Now at the end of the video, I'm going to sound pretty contradicting, but it's a pretty tricky one. But Tyronn Lue in-game adjustments is actually pretty darn good. Like, there will be moments when Zubac is actually, just not having his night, and Tyronn Lue would opt for playing Harnstein bigger minutes. Like, I remember there were moments when Zubac just is not his night. Harnstein would just be playing the rest of the second half, or Tyronn Lue would go small ball. And that is one of the key things that the Clippers lacked during the Doc Rivers era is in-game adjustments. And in-game adjustments or adjustments in general is the key of winning games. Now, the reason why I had some little frustration with Tyronn Lue, like on the last year of the season on 2021, is, it looked like he was not making adjustments, but later on, Tyronn Lue just did a really interesting switch up, which is start Reggie Jackson. Reggie Jackson, ooh, that's when Mr. June just started. That's when he started frying everybody, and that's one example of in-game adjustments. Another example of in-game adjustments. Well, let's just look at all the games we win. Like again, the Washington Wizards. Tyronn Lue was like, "Oh, you can't really play, all right." So he just benched the whole entire starters essentially. Then he just got the whole entire bench unit, and bam, we took the W. We just took that W, and obviously, like I said, with Zubac and the Harnstein, or another really fun, interesting lineup was when Tyronn Lue did a little twin tower thing with either Zubac and Ibaka or Harnstein with Ibaka, which kind of like made a little twin tower thing. So yeah, those are like four of the biggest Tyronn Lue strengths. And honestly, adjustment is key. And I love a coach who could adjust. But now, of course, Tyronn Lue have some of the weaknesses. But honestly, I think it's just one weaknesses. But I think it's a pretty critical weakness in my opinion. But not saying that Tyronn Lue is a bad coach. He's a polar opposite. He's a great coach, deserves to get Coach of the Year. But his weakness, unfortunately, is the underutilization of Brandon Boston Jr. and Jay Scrubb. Like, there were so many times when the Clippers needed shot creation, but however, like, at least, like, especially in the beginning of the season for Brandon Boston Jr., he proved that he's a more than capable of a great player. Um, like, he is really good with getting buckets. He could cross everybody up. Um, he nor crossover. That's my nickname for Brandon Boston Jr. He shows a lot of athleticism as well too, and on a defensive end, he's a really good defender, especially in these first 10 games. Like for some reason, Brandon Boston Jr. is not getting any minutes, which is should be getting more minutes till this day, honestly. But again, of course, everybody would have a weakness. And then my man Jay Scrubb. Jay Scrubb is another player that That is just massively underutilized. Now sucks that he got the turf toe injury, so now nobody could really see his full potential. But when J Scrub, when he got garbage time minutes, when he those small sample size minutes, he goes off. Like he would score 9 points in 9 minutes and like 8 points in 7 minutes or something like that. But nevertheless, J Scrub also shows like a lot of potential of bringing that juice, and there were a lot of moments when the Clippers needed that juice. But for some reason, both of these players never got the opportunity. Now, a lot of people are going to say, oh, how could you play them? You got a lot of players in their position that are, that are loaded in their position. Well, honestly, just split the pie. Like some days, like the main players would get the minutes. Some days, like when we have a tight schedule, or when our main players are not, like getting the buckets, just start getting Scrub and Boston Jr. in. Like I know Amir Coffey has shown to be a really good player, but it would have still been better if Scrub played the minutes, because I know for a fact if Scrub played the minutes, he'd definitely be considered as a rising star for sure. Like at least considered of one of the up and coming young talents. Basically, you cannot let either of these two slip off the Clipper uniform. The Clippers need to do whatever it takes to keep him wearing the Clippers uniform for a while, because I'm telling you, both of them will be deadly. But but either but but nevertheless, like both of them, they showed a lot of versatility as well too. Like Scrub is more like a shooting guard and a wing. Brandon Boston Jr. is like a shooting guard and a wing, but they could do like a lot of like multiple positions, especially Brandon Boston Jr. Like he shows a lot of capabilities of being a pretty good playmaker, so you could kind of like run him at the point guard if you want. So, I mean, like just look at the Golden State Warriors. Look at Jordan Poole and Moses Moody. Like they literally have Steph Curry and Klay Thompson. So, I mean, like if they could get the minutes, like I'm sure Tyronn Lue could manage to find a way to get Scrub and Boston Jr. the minutes. So I don't really want to hear that BS as saying, oh, too many people in their position are, getting, so it's impossible to get them the minutes. But just just look at the Warriors. Just look at the Warriors. Like, and also there are a lot of moments when our main players like they would get all like they would play like the whole entire game literally. So it would be like it cause like fatigue, especially with Paul George and Reggie Jackson, because Reggie Jackson, oh boy, he plays like literally like 40 minutes at times. When Tyronn Lue could have actually, just have like just somehow like insert like Boston Jr. to take the load off of some of these players, or you could have, or like let's just say beginning of the season could have, just took Paul George out for a little bit just to get a breather, insert Boston in, and then like Marcus Morris, um, he was off during that time, so could have just took Morris out, just give him a little breather, get Scrub in, and then May when it's time, like May then get the main players in, and then just basically could have split the pie, but yeah, that's just one like big weaknesses about Tyronn Lue is just utilization of Scrub and Boston. However, Tyronn Lue did, like to give credit, Tyronn Lue did a lot better with the young guys compared to Doc Rivers, because Doc Rivers, he does not play the young guys. Well, like he plays the quote unquote proven young guys, but like he did not play Terrence Mann any minutes. Tyronn Lue does a lot better with that. He plays Terrence Mann actual minutes. He actually plays Brandon Boston Jr. like a fair amount of minutes, like compared to what Doc Rivers would have done, because like Doc Rivers is just such a bad coach. Like he literally plays freaking like fucking Avery fucking Bradley over Shai Alexander. Are you out of your mind, bro? Are you out of your mind, Doc Rivers? By the way, Doc Rivers is just a pretty horrendous coach, but at least Tyronn Lue would not be that stupid to play fucking Avery Bradley over Shai Alexander. So at least like he does utilize Brandon Boston Jr. like in a lot of the games actually. So I guess I'll give him that. But he definitely needs to get utilized like way more. Like especially like a recent example, like when we played against the Cleveland Cavaliers, we cannot buy any buckets. Like we can buy any buckets. Brandon Boston Jr. could have been inserted in for either Amir Coffey, either for Luke Kennard, or either for Reggie Jackson. But nevertheless, Brandon Boston Jr. could have get inserted in that game, and and eventually, like one of the other players could get tired. Let's just say, he just subbed. Let's just say, um, who can I use an example? So let's just say he subbed Brandon Boston Jr. for Amir Coffey. So Luke Kennard or Reggie Jackson is still off. So could have. So then. So then, like then could have inserted Amir Coffey back in for let's just say either Luke Kennard or Reggie Jackson. So they basically split the pie. Like, but yeah, that's just like a terminology on how Tyronn Lue could have utilized both of these guys in the picture. And as for Jay Scrub, I'm sure he would have. I'm sure Tyronn Lue could have still found a way to utilize Jay Scrub because look at Norman Powell right now. Like Norman Powell, he's like utilized as a two, but and Jay Scrub and Norman Powell, they honestly like their play style also mirrors pretty similar. Like shows a lot of similarity in my opinion, but Scrub like Scrub is also like he proved that he definitely like could be playing on the floor because the last like two games when he actually got like real big minutes, which is I will give Tyronn Lue fat props for actually giving Jay Scrub fat minutes on 2021. Like he shows that he's a pretty good scorer and he shows like some capabilities of having the nice pick and roll passing abilities. Yeah, he's a little bit on a turnover prone side, but and he's also a pretty streaky shooter. Both of them are streaky shooters, unfortunately, but still, like they have the hustle. They're pretty good all around, and they definitely bring in the juice when you would want the juice. Like, and yes, like a lot of the games, like I said, could have definitely utilized these two, but I think I'm definitely repeating myself way too much right now, and so this will just wrap up the video. So just let me know what you think about this particular video. Like, what take did you agree on? What takes did you disagree on? And yeah, just leave a like, comment, and subscribe, and I'll definitely get with y'all in the comment section. So overall, my grade for Tyronn Lue of the whole entire season on how good of a coach he is, I think I might have to give him like an A minus to an A, honestly, because screw it. Honestly, I give him a fat A. Or I'm pretty indecisive right now, but considering like I did say Tyronn Lue deserves to be a coach of the year, but heck, just give him an A plus, honestly. Like considering how the Clippers have been doing for the whole entire season, like that's just something else. If you could take a team that with no All Stars, well, an All Star that played only 30 games, to an eighth seed to a playoff spot, that must be pretty impressive. Like those aren't just built on trees. Now I'm sure some people may use Doc Rivers as a counter example, but the Clippers, but Doc Rivers Clippers never had to play 5 games in 1 week. But Tyronn Lue, like despite of the really brutal schedule that's on our side, he still managed to get us in the playoffs. So I'll just pretty much wrap up the video in general. Like nothing else I could really say. So, like I said again, be sure to leave a comment of what you think. Leave a like, just what you agree or disagree on, and just have a great day, Clipper Nation. And let's ultimately, like, hopefully, we win the championship because our boys returning. Norman Powell, Kawhi PG, and as y'all know, peace. Oh my bad. Pretty awkward ending. All right.